Well, good morning, everyone. Let's get the show started. It's Tuesday, the 19th of September, and we're going to start with what is breaking news as we have it right now. Nigeria's Ministry of Finance has approved the Securities and Exchange Commission Administrative Proceeding Committee decisions against the directors and the organization by the name Partnership Investments in matters of securities fraud. This is coming through right now from the SEC headquarters in Abuja, that the Chief Executive Officer of Partnership Investments Limited, this company, which is licensed and registered previously by the SEC and the Stock Exchange as an investment bank and a stockbroking firm, this Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Victor Ogenwoye, has been banned for life. He will no longer be able to participate in the Nigerian securities market for the rest of his life. That is the story we're getting this morning. That is number one. Number two, Mr. Ogenwoye's wife, who is also on the board of directors, has gotten a 5-year ban by the Securities and Exchange Commission. This is a very major development in Nigeria's securities market in recent years, since Moniru Guazo became the head of the SEC less than 3 years ago. The chairman of the board of directors of Partnership Investments Limited, Mr. Alan Omoroba, who is the 5th respondent in this case, has gotten a 5-year ban, and 4 other directors of Partnership Investments Limited are also getting a 5-year ban. And of course, the directors, the chairman and the CEO will now pay some sundry amounts of money to investors, and of course get back some of the shares that they sold illegally, in this case brought against them. This is the decision of the APC. The Administrative Proceeding Committee is the internal organ of the Securities and Exchange Commission responsible for handling cases of malpractices brought against securities market operators and companies within the Nigerian marketplace. Today, very instructive that the Minister of Finance, Kemi Adeosun, this morning is inaugurating the board of the Investment and Securities Tribunal. That is the specialized court set up for securities market actions in Nigeria. That has jurisdiction that is equal to that of an appeal court. That is a very important development that we have on our hands this morning. The Ministry of Finance has approved the decisions of the Securities and Exchange Commission to ban Victor Ogenwoye, the Chief Executive Officer of Partnership Investments Limited, for life. The chairman of the company, Alan Omoroba, gets a 5-year ban alongside 5 other directors of Partnership Investments Limited. That's breaking news, and we're all over this story this morning. Today, as you have heard also, the Ministry of Finance is now inaugurating the board of the Investment and Securities Tribunal. That's the court that has jurisdiction for securities market, a very major development in our market here in Nigeria. Let's get back to you on that as we continue the rest of the programming. Let's get back to the top of the table. The university striking workers ends their 6-week sit-at-home action on the day. The junior oil workers start their own shutdown of petrol products depot in Lagos and across the country. NUPENG, which is the Union of Petroleum Workers, says they said they are starting their strike action. However, they are scheduled to meet the federal government officials today to discuss the strike action, as the National Oil Corporation, called the NNPC, says there's no need for Nigerians to engage in panic buying of petrol products. Meantime, the downstream oil marketers says they're protesting the arrears of petrol subsidies estimated at $2 billion. That was about 3 weeks ago, and they issued a warning to the government that they may start sacking some of their workers if these $2 billion arrears of petrol subsidies are not paid. They said they've taken bank loans, and both the capital and interest are accruing, and they need this money very quickly. Now, the strike action by the oil workers, the junior oil workers in the downstream sector, is called by the United Labour Congress, a faction of the Nigeria Labour Congress, which the NSC says was not in order. But what the United Labour Congress wants is to cripple Nigeria's land and air transport system, and of course, wants a total power outage. So they're asking the workers in the electricity sector to also down tools and cut off petrol products, and by extension, disrupt banking services. That's the news this morning. The ASUU workers are back to the classrooms. The oil workers are back at home. Let's get into the FX market. The Central Bank of Nigeria yesterday read a riot act to commercial banks to observe all the rules issued in the past few months around the foreign exchange market on a number of areas. One, the retailing of the FX to end users as quickly as possible, and of course, to also display on electronic format in their banking halls across all their branches across the country the rate at which they're selling foreign currencies to end users. And of course, again, the timelines for the FX processing should be strictly adhered. The regulator is now giving October the 13th, 2017 as a deadline for all the commercial banks to give full lifeline or compliance to these rules and regulations. Meantime, on Monday, the central bank sold about $550 million into the FX market. The retail secondary market gets about $285 million, according to a statement from the Corporate Communications Unit of the central bank. The wholesale SMIs received $100 million, and of course, the small and medium enterprises window got $90 million. $70 million was sold into the invisibles market, where you have the BTAs, the PTAs, tuition fees, and medical allowances. That's in the news this morning from the FX market. This is a very big day for the Nigerian market. As you have heard, the Securities and Exchange Commission has gotten the approval of the Federal Ministry of Finance, which is the supervising ministry, to move against the directors of Partnership Investments Limited. Partnership Investments Limited was brought before the SEC for securities fraud and infractions. Now, the MOF, that's the Ministry of Finance, has approved that Partnership Securities Limited the managing director, Mr. Victor Ogenwoyi, banned for life from engaging in capital market activities in the Nigerian capital market and ordered to pay a penalty of 100,000 naira for the breach of Rule 1 of the Code of Conduct for capital market operators and their employees as contained in the SEC rules and regulations pursuant to the ISA, the Investment and Securities Act of 2007. Mr. Victor Ogenwoyi is also banned for life from holding directorship position in any public company for his unprofessional conduct in respect of the activities of both companies. Now, Mr. Ogenwoyi, so the chairman, I beg your pardon, the chairman of Partnership, Mr. Henry Omoragbon, is suspended for 5 years from engaging in the market activities and also ordered to pay a penalty of 100,000 naira for the breach of Rule 1 of the Code of Conduct for capital market operators in a breach of the ISA of 2007. Partnership Securities Limited, of course, this statement from the SEC a few minutes ago says, has been ordered by the SEC, now the Ministry of Finance representing the Nigerian government, to restore to Mr. Cletus Mbaji Uchendu 48,200 units of 40 oil shares, which was sold without his authority, and the accruing benefits, including bonuses and dividends, from May the 23rd, 1997 to date. That is a 10 years rollback. Partnership Securities will have to buy back the shares to this man who brought this case against Partnership Securities Limited. And some other directors of this company, Partnership, has also been suspended for 5 years. Mr. Ojetunde Taiwo, Mrs. Ogenwoyi Olufunke, who is the wife of the Victor Ogenwoyi, the CEO of Partnership Investment, Mr. Ogeamen Frank, and Mr. Adeusi Adladejola Alexander, and finally, Mrs. Arese Ogo. All of them 5 years banned from the capital market, and they're also paying a penalty of 100,000 naira each in breach of the Investment and Securities Act of 2007. And finally, the SEC, now the approval this morning, a manager in Partnership Securities Limited, Mr. Eseha Augustine Enejeta, who is the manager, is suspended for 1 year for engaging in capital market activities in breach of the law and is paying a penalty of 100,000 naira as well. All this fresh from the Ministry of Finance this morning, asking the SEC to go ahead and punish these individuals in the matters of securities fraud.